Okay, so hi, my name is Ki, and I'm a survivor of that joke. When I was a child, my father told me that the sun would explode billions years later, and I was shocked and confused that I Googled on the internet about how to lengthen the life on Earth. And that day, I incorporated with the phrase sustainable development, never knowing that today I will have the chance to stand here to explain a further idea about sustainable development, how to use the dead time in education to reach sustainable development. But first of all, what is that idea about education worth sharing? Education for Sustainable Development is an education sector in response to urgent environmental challenges. It is a key to open the door to a multitude of sustainable ideas. However, sustainable ideas these days only seem to be put forward spontaneously and on a certain level, just to solve some problems in certain fields. Like, how many more bins do we need to stop people from littering? And how many more trees do we need to grow to make children love nature? And presumably, only with education acting as a firm ground do green ideas and green fields grow steadily and creatively. And in order to pursue that, we, EduGrence, determined that book is one of the most effective ways since it affects people's rights in their mind and their perspective. Also, it involves people in participating in the process of sustainable development from a very young age. So what is behind our book? Well, about the curriculum, it is based on the triple bottom line model, about 70% of environment and the rest for people and profit. Also, about the practice lesson, meaningful activities along with concerning local activities are put in the lesson in order to make students keep up with what is happening in their local. And so, but what is about our scope? Well, the two books, Thế giới quan em and Giáo dục bền vững, revolves around the idea of learning to learn, which means we do not simply give answers to problems. We also shed light on the process of finding the solutions, or what is the consequences of the problems. And more, I mentioned about the dead time. Those books will be taught in that dead time. So what is it? It's simply the time that school is off. And in Vietnam, it's usually the gap between 2 semesters and the beginning of school year or at the end of school years. So why should we teach education for sustainable development in that time? First of all, it will create a standard, a common rules for every school that they will have extracurricular activities along with academic program. Secondly, it is just a step-by-step action to make students in Vietnam feel more familiar with the idea of sustainable development, since students in Vietnam usually bear little goodwill towards the environment. So by using the wasted time in education, we can serve a bigger goal. An American journalist once said that the whole purpose of education is to make mirrors into windows. So let EduGrence be the light, be the guider through the vague and fog of mirrors into the open world of windows. Thank you for your listening.
Okay, what you said is a very interesting idea, but I have some concerns I have to ask you because you plan to implement the curriculum in the dead time, isn't that correct? Well, you said dead time is, you define dead time as the break time and the recess, lunchtime of the student. But do you not understand that the student wouldn't want to essentially waste their free time when they finish learning to study more? Don't you think that the student may not be particularly passionate about this because they are forced to learn it in their free time when they're supposed to play with their friends and have fun kind of things? And also the next thing is the lack of resource in schools around Vietnam, because school in Vietnam, Vietnamese school barely have enough resources to provide for the core curriculum like math, English, and other things. But you suggest that we should use more of that limited resource to essentially add in more unnecessary curriculum, wouldn't that be a waste of resources? And what is the exact benefit that your curriculum will produce? What kind of results do you expect to see with your curriculum? How does that tangibly help the environment? Okay.
Okay, so I've heard about 3 questions. The first one is that that break time is for a student to have a relaxed vacation, right? So my idea is that I have conducted a survey throughout high schools in Ho Chi Minh City, and about a gap between 2 semesters, there's sometimes extracurricular activities. However, some schools do not have extracurricular activities, which means with EduGrence, we can provide more extracurriculars in that time, along with the academic program, not just let students study on paper. And about the resources, I quite cannot make out what you're talking about when you mention math. And however, the resources we are concerning about is mainly from English, so we are trying to translate them into Vietnamese and put them in our book. However, it would be very local, as I mentioned, to make students more aware about what is happening right next to them. And I've heard about, you're talking about the results, right? So I've been thinking about it lately, and the results we are expecting can be reflected through our practice lesson. We ask students to do some infographics or to implement some projects, and I suppose that we can find the results on those actions. Thank you. Just 1.5. Right, so I want to shed more light on about our project on the practice lesson. Well, it is based on many principles which I have researched. First of all, it is about role play. We ask students to act on some plays or some true projects in order to make them feel that they really did something, and they go to the real action, I mean. And about the lack of resources, I want to add that there are more resources need to be allotted for sustainable development, since the earth is ever changing and the world is devastating by our effects. So it is a concerning and alarming problem to be concerned about. And that's the end.